When you hear someone called a furry, what comes to mind? A giant stuffed animal? Maybe a sexual fetish? Well, today we're diving into the persona, or should I say fursona, to learn more. Joining us now is self-identified furry and author of Furry Nation, Joe Strike. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Be here.
Well, this is our first incursion into the furry world. So let's get started, Joe. Basics, what is a furry?
Okay, a furry is anyone who has a fascination or identification with imaginary animals. Now, they could be just cartoon character animals. They could be storybook animals like Peter Rabbit. They could be imaginary ones like dragons and griffins.
Speaking of dragons, Joe, we have a picture of you as a kimono dragon. Let's take a look.
Oh, cool. Absolutely. Hey, isn't he a handsome guy?
I like the Joe, I can tell it. You embellish it. You own it. So you can relate to a dragon, huh?
Well, this character is like an alternate personality for me. I'm a pretty mellow guy in general, but when I put that suit on, I become very sinister, but yet alluring. It's just so much fun to put on that skin and be someone else while I'm wearing it.
Interesting. Dr. Ish, it sounds like a little role playing, doesn't it?
You know, I think I'm starting to understand a little more about this phenomenon. Now, Joe, here's the next question that everybody at home wants to know.
Of course.
Is this a fetish? Is there a sexual component to the furry?
Okay. Well, for most people, it's just a fun hobby. It's escape from day to day. Now, so there are people who access their sexuality through furry animal role play. They imagine themselves, they will role play as their animal characters. Some will even put those suits on and pretend they're animals.
Now, Joe, this is so interesting. When did you first know that you were a furry? How old were you?
I found out I was a furry when one day in 1988, I got an invitation in the mail to something called a furry party. And nobody had explained what this thing was to me. I instantly knew that this is who I am. This is who I was. And I joined the furry scene and I've never looked back.
Wow, it's like Halloween all year long, right? So Joe, you're considered a gray muzzle. What does that mean?
Gray muzzle is an older furry. Now, since I got in like back in '88, I'm definitely a gray muzzle. However, there's a Facebook site for gray muzzles, and they will let in anyone over 30. So I guess I'm one of the grayer gray muzzles.
So that being said, Dr. Ish, what's your take on all of this?
You know, Dr. O, it's really interesting, right? As we listen to Joe talking about it, from a psychology standpoint, it makes sense. It's like, hey, we all have these different parts of our personality that we try to access depending on whether at home, at work, playing sports, in the gym. And so, Joe, it sounds like this is a vehicle to allow you to access some of those different aspects of your personality. You can feel more sexy, more powerful, more in control, or maybe even more playful, more vulnerable. You know, it's interesting, Doc, because most of us, we put on our masks so we don't have to be seen. But with the furries, they put on their suits so they can fully be seen. It's a very interesting concept. Now, Joe, bottom line,
yes.
What do you want viewers to know about the furry community? What's the take-home point here?
Okay, for me, it goes back to something very ancient and deep. For thousands of years, people in tribal custom shamans have been dressing up as animals for their religious rituals. You can go to the museum or look in books, and you'll see Native Americans, buffalo heads, or in bird outfits, or Northwest Indians in bear suits, part of a ritual of introducing kids to adulthood. And that's been forgotten about nowadays. Nowadays, anthropomorphic animals are considered commodities to sell and to use them to, sell products. But furs are people who understand that deep connection with the animal world, that we've alienated ourselves from the rest of the animal world. We're animals too, and people forget that. And we have rediscovered that connection, and we're bringing it back into the world. There are people who haven't gotten that invite to the furry party yet and feel lonely and alienated. And once they discover there's a furry community out there, all of a sudden they're not alone and they can bloom and blossom.